Now we're looking at page 7 on the geometry notes, and I'm going to organize this a little bit differently so that I can fit more things together at the same time. So let me just take this diagram and move it down onto the side here, and you can see what's going on at the same time I'm answering the questions. So starting off, it says, what does this funny symbol mean? Well, that's a symbol that shows parallel lines. Okay, so what we're talking about is the fact that we have AB, line AB is parallel to line CD. They go in the same direction, the distance between them is the same all the way through. How do we name the triangle? Well, the triangle we're talking about is in here, okay? And so the name of that triangle is triangle FEG, and triangle EFG, triangle GEF. And the main thing is that symbol in front to shorten the way we have to write things down. Question 3 says, how do we name the angles? Well, realize that we probably have 7 angles here to talk about. And if you look at some of the overlapping, there's even more. But basically, I'll take a couple of samples, and I'll start off with the angle here, angle AFE. We got another one on the other side, which is going to be angle BFG, etc. Okay, you can name the angles that way. How do we name the lines? Well, it's kind of weird because at first glance, number 4 and 5 look like they're the same question. But there are actually 2 lines in this diagram. Lines go on forever. And so we put the arrows on the top of the line on top of the letters to say that it's going forever. So line AB, and we also have the other line CD. Now, a line goes forever, so you can't measure its length. You could even talk about line GD or line FB. These all would be going forever as long as you put those arrows on top. Now, when I talk about how do we name the line segments are pieces of lines and they don't go forever. So for example, FE is a line segment. It has a start and a finish. You can actually measure its length. Another one might be line FG. And so we put the line above it, but no arrowhead on it. And how do we write that lines are parallel? Now, you might be thinking that this is the same thing as question 1, but in fact, what I'm talking about is the shorthand notation to show that line AB is going to be parallel to line CD. And we have a special symbol. It's a double line, looks like the double L in the word parallel. And you can put the arrowheads to say the lines go forever. By the way, a lot of the times people leave out those arrowheads on the top. Question 7 asks us to write the measure of angle FEC in. It's 110 degrees. So angle FEC is saying just label 110 degrees in that corner. And then asks you what is the measure of angle FEG, which is this angle here. Okay, I'll call it X for now. Well, those are supplementary angles. You know that they add up to 180, so that's a pretty straightforward question. These 2 angles are supplementary angles. And when there's an angles that share a ray like this, okay, so those 2 are side by side, they're also called adjacent, okay? Adjacent in English means side by side. So those 2 angles are considered to be adjacent. So now we're taking a look after we slid this thing down a bit. Question 9. So it says, look at angle FEG, that's where the X is right now, and EFA, which is up at the top. These angles are equal or congruent, I should use the proper word, due to parallel lines. And the pairs of angles forming a Z like this, we've seen already, okay, makes alternate angles, okay, alternate interior, technically. And when we're doing the next question, it asks you to put the 40 degrees in for angle FGE. So that's going to be 40 degrees. And we can now measure the angle of GFB, which is also going to be 40 degrees. So I can put the same symbol there. And that also is going to be because of alternate angles. Easy enough? Hopefully you're getting this Z property down pretty clearly. We can also calculate the measure of FGD. Together, those pair of angles are going to be adding up to 180 degrees. So that means that we're going to have 140 degrees for FGD thanks to supplementary angles. And then it asks about triangle FEG, or basically the third angle EFG at the top of this triangle. We know that the angle X is equal to 70 degrees because of the supplementary angle with the 110, and the 40 degrees at the bottom is going to be a total of 110, and the missing angle at the top is going to be 70 degrees, and the sum of the angles in a triangle has to be 180 degrees. A little more movie magic, and now we have the last three questions on the page. It asks you to name two obtuse angles. Well, we have an obtuse angle FEC, so that one's pretty easy to spot. There are probably others, but this is the one that's pretty obvious. FEC, and you put that angle symbol in front. And the other one on the other side is FGD, angle FGD, which is also an obtuse angle. It's over 90 degrees. Triangle EFG, so the triangle that we have here in the middle, EFG, is called an something triangle. The angles are less than 90. Well, when all three angles are less than 90, we're measuring it, we're categorizing it by angle measure, so it's an acute triangle. But there's another way we can classify this because we have two of the angles are equivalent, and so triangle EFG could also be called isosceles. When you have two angles the same, it also means that you have two sides the same, and it's called an isosceles triangle.